Yeah,
I'm
do
just
so.
turning you on. Okay.
Like you did to Wrath.
Yeah. Hi. Hi, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to. Just turn that
Hello.
off. Turn that off. Welcome, and yes,
Welcome.
it's a Tuesday night, which means it's only one thing can be happening on my channel when I just get my microphone out the way of my head. Yeah, it is Shadowrun time. Woohoo! Yes, so really looking forward to tonight's game. We are. Well, we just started an adventure the other week, so there's lots of things happening and lots of excitement as the party or the runners try to solve a mystery and survive in the darkest depths of Southside, which is in London. In the year 2076. So before further ado, let me allow the players to have that opportunity to introduce themselves and their characters. So just normal introductions, guys. And we'll start off with Chuckawugga. We're playing Studley.
Hello. I'm Chugwugger. I play Stanley Lovely, aka Studley. He is in his late 40s. He's rather portly, always having to pull up his trousers, wears round-rimmed glasses, which constantly fall off his nose. He provides the magical support for the team, and he drives around on his little Dodge Scoot, which is called Jezebel. Oh, and he also lives at home with his mom.
Excellent. And next to him, we have Longshanks EPG.
Hi guys, I'm Longshanks EPG. I play the character Hexer, who is quite a young elf chap trying to find his way in life as a Shadowrunner and an adept gunslinger.
Excellent. And on the end, we have Big Beastie.
You're muted, Big.
Who starts off the show with being muted.
You're still muted.
Begins as he needs to go on.
Because I just messed up my character name. So it's a good job. I am Big Beastie and I play Billy Bob. Nearly did it again. He is the tank of the group. He is a orc, an ex-British soldier with a good hefty blade in his hand that he likes to use a lot.
Excellent. And without further ado, I am going to go straight in and I'm going to run the introduction to Shadowrun.
Some bad things jump through the windows.
Yeah, so welcome. I hope you enjoyed that introduction. And just to give what I'm going to give you now is a brief synopsis of what's happening in the campaign so far, or in this new adventure that the party has just recently started. So they're just sort of like starting off on this adventure, and they have, as usual, been hired by their fixer, Mr. Johnson, who's called Charlie, and who talks through a telephone receiver. And they were asked to help a street dog, and they went toddling off to find the street dog, who actually ended up being their friend from the past Ida, who actually has looked after them for various injuries beforehand. Anyway, they actually found Max Sinclair, or the doppelganger of Max Sinclair, who they left there last time, who actually has a Cortex bomb firmly wedged in his cranium, and they actually thought that that was going to be the job. However, it turned out not to be so. Behind a curtain, they lay a rather decaying person, and decaying, i.e. he was being slowly turned to liquid, which was dropping off to the floor. And Ida sort of like said to the group that she had taken some blood from this guy, and she could not identify it, and so the party was given a test tube with the initials #ID459 on it, which is the most up-to-date unknown blood sample that Ida has, and told to go and discuss this with a certain person called Mr. Jekyll, or Dr. Jekyll. When they arrived at his apartment, they found that he was out, but a kind old lady from down the street mentioned that he was downstairs, trapped in his vehicle by some nasty gang members. So the party went down and dealt with the gang members in their normal way. And then Mr. Jekyll, or Dr. Jekyll, took them back upstairs and introduced them, and Studley kindly unpacked his shopping for him. And they were being rather nice to this character until all of a sudden there was a shattering of glass, when all of a sudden it appeared that some zombie ghouls burst through the windows with tremendous speed, and I may also say with some quite agile movements. And that is how we left it last week. So I'm just going to, let me put that on there. I'm just going to move you guys along to where you were, I think.
I think Dr. Jekyll was going to go and he was just about to go through to analyse the blood sample that we had given him.
That is correct. He was just heading for the door, and he opened the door there in front of him, as you could probably see, and there was a tremendous burst of glass. And you saw this awful beast burst through the door, and then Billy Bob, you saw this awful beast burst through the door, through the window as well. Sorry, windows rather than doors.
And we're on the second floor, or
I think it's third floor.
Third floor
up. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, which is quite surprising because how they actually got up here. I mean, this one, if you remember, this part here is actually the fire escape. Mm-hmm. So whether or not this one
leapt onto the window ledge.
You don't really know. Okay, so let's, without... did we roll initiative? No,
we did not.
No, yeah.
No,
I've just got some initiatives in, but it looks like they're from the last one. So let's get straight down into battle, and let's roll some initiatives. Let me just put this up here.
Hopefully mine will roll correctly. Yes.
And this up here. Right. Da, da, da. So just so you know, I know it sounds... let me just reassign this one, because it looks a bit strange at the moment. There you go. That's a bit better now. You won't have seen the reassignment, but it makes a lot more sense to me. Ooh. That's interesting. Just one second.
What, that you've sorted them in order and...
No, it's just that that one came up with nothing on its character sheet. which is always a bit worrying. Did this one have anything on its character sheet? Yeah, it did. I think there's been some really strange goings on with...
Well, 20.
Yeah. Very strange goings on. Let me just... Because I've created all these characters once. Now they appear to be blank. Which is not a problem, because I can do that. And then I can do... I just assign that to that one. Aha!
Aha!
And then that should... Now, let's just make sure that works. So, first one has got his ability scores up. And second one also has his ability scores up. I'll rename him, don't worry.
They've got very high wound penalties.
Have
I don't know
they?
whether or not you know.
They
They've got a wound penalty of 7.
They shouldn't have. Wow.
Suppose they picked them up coming through the windows.
No,
Yeah.
that's another thing. Well, that won't actually affect their... it shouldn't affect their... did it affect their agility? Right, let me...
It affects their initiative because it's taken mine and Hector's into account.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for some other reason, this is what I'm saying. They seem to have wounds of 10 automatically.
Yeah, paper cuts.
Right. We are nearly there, gentlemen. So here's
Well, I suppose
the first one.
I suppose that accounts for, the odd arm falling off and bits of skin peeling if they're,
And
if they're zombies.
here's
Yeah.
the second one.
Oh, nice roll for the second.
There we go.
Hold on. It said I got wound penalty as well, didn't it?
No, you don't have one. I swear you don't have one. Briggs, Billy Bob, wound penalty 0. You're fine.
Okay.
I thought I'd seen a wound penalty of 7.
No,
So-
mine had one.
Oh.
Hector, you are up.
Okay. Hearing the crash, can I see that? Can I see the one that's jumped through where I'm pinging? The one in the living room, not the bedroom. I won't be able to see the one in the bedroom.
Let's have a look. Yeah, you could probably see it through Studley and Billy Bob. They're both in the way to some extent.
Okay, well, if I can see it in that case, Hector's going to move around the table, move to here because he hadn't seen the one in the bedroom yet, and he's going to draw his. He's going to take cover and then draw pistol. Then he's going to draw his taser.
What are you taking cover from? This
I
one.
don't know.
This ghoul here, the ghoul in front of you.
Yeah, he's just crouched. Is that like a full bookshelf or wall?
Is that,
Or is
yeah,
it like a
that's
half
sort
bookshelf?
of like straight ahead. So if you were firing out this way, then it would provide cover. But for firing, if you're firing dead ahead, it's not going to provide you cover. So to say.
Okay, well he's just
Cover
going. He's going to stand there and he is going to take his pistol out. That's it.
Excellent. Okay, then.
taser. Sorry, he's taking his taser out.
Brilliant. So this is my go. So this creature here, Billy Bob, almost like lumbers or gallops. It's sort of like bent over and it's sort of like that, and it comes straight. It moves up to you, and then it's going to take its complex action to whack you.
Okay. Dodge.
No, it's all right. It misses you.
Right.
Okay, so it sort of like takes a huge swipe at you, and you just manage to get out. That's the biggest circle on your character that I've ever seen, Hector. Okay, and Billy Bob, you're up.
Okay. Okay, Billy Bob's gonna.
Hang on, I've missed one, haven't I? Who have I?
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, no, you go before me. That's all right. That's why
Okay.
you're there.
So Billy Bob's gonna. He's gonna release his handblade
Okay.
and stick it in him.
So releasing your weapon, I think, is a simple action. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you need a complex action to hit.
Yes, sir.
So you can release your weapon, but you won't be able to actually do a complex action attack. So this round you can release your weapon, so it's ready for next round.
Right.
And this guy here, the monster on the bed, rushes across and then uses its complex action to whack Mr. Dr. Jekyll. And sort of like swipes at him, and Studley, you see him sort of like shocked as the claws just narrowly miss this guy's.
Inwills, your accuracy is 0. You're never going to hit on any of these.
Thank you for pointing it out.
You would have got 5 on the first one.
Yeah, it's all right.
And 3 on the second.
We will leave it at the moment. Accuracy is my strength, isn't it? 6. I thought something wasn't going right, but I have adjusted it now. So yeah, that's not a problem. We'll go from here. Don't worry. Okay. So we are now up to. I think it's you, Studley. Is it not?
Yeah, Billy Bob and the other ghouls gone.
Yeah.
Okay, seeing that Dr. Jekyll is in combat with a ghoul, Studley stood behind him is going to cast a spell, and he almost looks like he throws a very weak punch, almost like that, as the ghoul, as he powers his magic through it.
Yeah, cool.
This is coming in as force 6. Okay, so you can attempt to dodge.
Cool. Dodging. I got 1 success but glitched, so I'm rolling my soak now.
Okay, so this is at -6, and you're looking at 11 stun at the moment.
11 stun, cool. So that takes it down to 10 stun, yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, cool. Okay then, I think that's everyone, yeah? Yeah. So just adjust your initiatives, please, guys.
Is the ghoul or the thing that's in front of Studley still up?
It certainly is.
Was it staggered at all by the...
It looks like it was somewhat staggered, but it wasn't knocked over or anything like that. And it just looks like you sort of like knocked its head slightly. And there was almost like a crack of bones. And then it just sort of like came back around to look at you.
Okay. Has Hector seen this second attack then? Or not from where he's standing?
Which attack are you talking about?
The one that's attacking Dr. Jekyll.
Well, you were probably facing this way, were you not? Were you,
yeah, I was facing towards the other one.
Yeah, so
would you have seen this or not?
Probably not, because it's in the doorway and it was only sort of like a swipe of claws, you know.
Okay.
And you Studley. Well, I tell you what you can do if you wish. You can use it's up to you. You can use an action to try to see whether or not you notice Studley's spell casting, because there is an action for
Is that that's a simple action, isn't it?
no, to use a skill it would be a complex action unless you because it's like a perception roll.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. So I think, have you got it written down there?
I don't know. Sorry,
Hang
I would
on.
have probably said it was logic and.
I think it is. What is your illusions? I have a funniest feeling. It is. Da, 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 da. Let's go with logic and willpower just for the sake of it. It's on 128 actually. 280. Let's just see what it says. Perceiving magic. Here we go. Noticing magic is a simple perception plus intuition. So it's just like a
perception.
A perception with
A normal
mental
perception
thing.
test.
And the threshold is equal to the skill rating that is being performed minus the force of the magic. Or 6 minus the force. So your force was, what did you cast it as? 6.
It was a full 6 spell, yeah, that triggered the
Yeah.
cast.
Yeah. So as long as you get a success, you're away.
Okay. Do I have any situational modifiers?
No, it's absolutely fine. There's no fog or anything like that. Yeah, you definitely noticed that Studley cast a spell last round. Okay.
Okay. In that case, he's going to, having seen that, he's turned his attention that way now.
Okay, cool. Okay, so this is attack on you, Billy Bob. This thing in front of you. And hopefully this will have... Oh, why is my accuracy still 0? Every time I put the accuracy in, it wipes it.
I think you just need to do a normal roll then for the time being.
Yeah. But
No, there you go.
Okay.
That's three successes. So you need to dodge first of all, Billy Bob. Yeah. So this agile zombie sort of like takes a swipe at you, and you just manage to dodge out of the way as the claws come towards you, and
It's also got a wound penalty, that one as well.
yeah.
Should it have?
Yes, it does. It has 3 points.
Go on, do that again.
Right. Okay.
Mine.
Yeah. It's got a wound penalty.
For some unknown reason, no, I'm fine. For some unknown reason, it's reading off the same character sheet rather than
Copied and paste.
another one. Interesting. Okay, Billy Bob, go for it.
Okay, so after he leans back and dodges this swipe from this ghouly looking thing. He's coming over with an overhand right and his blade out. And 6 successes.
Cool. Let's just do my dodgy wodgy. 1 success, so that takes it down to 14.
15p.
14p, is it not?
Sorry, 14p.
Yeah. Minus 2. 14, which takes it down to 12. Yeah, 12p, I think. Okay, that you sort of like slide your hand blade into it and withdraw it, and it almost like looks at it for a slight period of time and then slowly slumps to the ground. It's quite unusual. It's not as if it's sort of like being killed. There's no blood coming from it. It's literally been stabbed in, pulled out, and it just sort of like slumps to the ground. And this is now the one in front of Mr. Jackal, I do believe. who actually has a blank character sheet now. So we are going to improvise.
And give him 22 body.
That's what I've given him. I've given him 26 actually.
Oh, well, that's...
This is the one that you've wounded, isn't it?
Yes.
With 10 stun, yeah. Didn't even have that anymore. So this is the swipe round. So you should have a wound penalty going off. There it is. Yeah, so he swipes at Mr. Jackal. Can somebody roll for me, please? Chuggerwugger, you can do it. Can you roll a total of 4 dice? Don't forget the greater than.
Oh, sorry.
I can do it with
successes.
that. Yeah, two successes. Oh, you remembered it. 2 successes. 1. So that's 8p. And now can you roll 3 dice? And minus, 3. Sorry, yeah. Oh, nice rolling.
Thank you very
10,
much.
8. Okay, then. So he's going to take 8 physical. Fantastic. Okay, and that's it, I think. Everybody's done, yeah?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then.
Would you take 8 or 6?
Hang on, let's have a look.
I got 2 on the dodge and then 2 on the...
So he did...
You had 10.
I got 3 successes. You did 2 on the dodge. That takes it up to 8p. And then you did 2 successes. 8p minus 2 successes is 6p.
Cool, okay.
Is that what I said?
No, 8.
All right, yeah. So that's fine. 8. 2, sorry, 6. Let me just write that down. Excellent. Okay, then. Let me just clear that out. Okay, let's have this zombie guy here is on the floor. Let's have some more initiatives.
Oh, nice one, Billy Bob.
You all done? Yeah, that's right. Okay, Billy Bob, you're up.
Okay. First off, Billy Bob wants to check, see what this thing is, if it is dead. I know it looks dead, but he just wants to
make
I want to
perception
blitz.
roll.
Can I blitz then, please?
Yeah, by all means. You want to blitz to the top?
Yes.
So that'll give you 21.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, go for it.
Okay, Studley wants to grab Dr. Jekyll and move him out the way, putting himself in between the ghoul and Dr. Jekyll.
Okay, well, Mr. Jekyll isn't resisting at all, and it's quite easy to sort of like to pull him to one side. So you can probably go there. That's absolutely fine. Billy Bob,
Okay.
roll your perception or medical skill if you have one.
Muted big.
Five successes.
Yeah, this thing just seems to be slumped on the floor. There seems to be no blood oozing from it or anything like that. It just seems to have almost like slid off your hand blade onto the floor. Hector, you up?
I don't know what to do now because Chipperwigger's done what I was about to do. Hector is going to move over to this side, so he's now got himself between the ghoul and Dr. Jekyll, and then he's going to delay his action to, if he can get a shot off at the ghoul or the zombie thing, he's going to with his taser.
Okay, you could probably take a shot from there. That's not a problem.
Okay, that's right. I was probably getting confused with Mithras rules about shooting into combat. If I can get a shot off them, then
Just don't miss.
if there's a clear shot, then you will do, yeah. That one. Can you do an aimed shot?
If he wishes to spend a simple action aiming, he certainly can.
Yep,
As per
he
the
will do
rules.
that then. He will do that then. Two successes.
2 successes. Dodgy wodgy. Yeah, so you fire off your pulsar, and this ghoul thing, it just sort of like seems to go straight through the flesh and out the other side, and it just sort of like clatters onto the bedroom floor somewhere. Right, my turn to fight. This is coming at you, Studley.
Yeah.
1 success.
Okay. Just need to find it. I think this is the first time
Yeah,
I've ever
so dodge
rolled.
first.
My dodge.
Oh, that's a nice glitch.
Thank you.
This is so therefore I hit you because that
How many was there?
how many glitches?
How many ones?
3.
I'm going to use a point of edge to re-roll 4 dice.
Okay, then go for it.
Got another 2, giving me 3.
Okay, yeah,
On
so
my dodge.
it sort of like reaches out, and with a stroke of luck, you just almost like manage to stumble back. You're not too sure whether or not it's luck, or you just sort of like were misbalanced by the pure shock of the thing coming towards you. And it sort of like reaches out and grabs nothing at all. Okay.
No, knowing Studley, he saw the pen on the floor and bent down
Yeah.
to pick it up just at the moment that thing was attacking.
Okay, change initiatives, guys. Okay, Studley, you're first.
Okay. Again, Studley is going to throw a punch at this ghoul
Cool.
or this undead thing.
Yeah. Call forth the magic.
Force 6.
Nice. Yeah, nice. So I get to dodge first, yeah?
Yeah. Don't forget you've already dodged.
Yeah, so this would be -2. 2 successes.
Okay, so -6.
So you're doing what? You know what you're doing.
10s at the moment.
10s. He gets none. So that's 10s.
So that's 10.
Yeah,
10s.
so you sort of like whack him again, and you notice that his head almost like goes slightly over to one side, and there's a slight click or a crunch, and the this thing's like the other one, just slumps to the floor. Okay.
Studley's going to
Excuse me.
hoist his trousers up so that they're back onto his waist.
Yeah.
He's going to sort of like cast a glance Billy Bob's way, and then he's going to turn around to Dr. Jekyll, and he's going to go, yes, are friends of yours?
Mr. Dr. Jekyll sort of like goes, oh, I don't think so. Oh, he says, I appear to be bleeding.
Oh, yes. Well, you sit down here, Dr. Jekyll, and well, come into the bedroom and lay on the bed, and I shall see what I can do to alleviate that blood loss.
Cool. You notice when you go into the bedroom, you notice that the window above the bed has been shattered inwards. And you figure, Studley, this would have taken quite some force to actually blow in, because you're up on the 3rd floor, and which means that it's the glass is hardened here to prevent suicide attempts. And so it's taken quite a big force to actually break through this glass. And Dr. Jekyll sort of like sits on the edge of the bed, mainly because the majority of the bed is just sort of like covered with glass from the shattering. You do notice as you walk in that the zombie, that we'll call them, the zombie that is down in the corner, it seems to be sat there, and just sort of like every now and again you just notice it twitching.
Yeah. Before he goes into the room to have a look at Dr. Jekyll's, Studley's going to turn around and he's going to go, the one that was in the bedroom, I probably only stunned it. And then he'll go in and he'll have a look at Dr. Jekyll's wounds.
He's got a 6p injury.
Hex will go, okay, but he's also going to go into the bedroom because he wants to peer out the window and like down and up to see if he can like stick his head out the window to see if he can see any more like crawling or climbing up the walls or anything.
Yeah,
or
by all
to
means,
jump.
make a perception roll.
Two.
Yeah, no, there seems to be nothing else out there. Do you want to heal? Is that the idea?
Yeah, so Studley's going to reach into one of his coat pockets and he's going to take out several small pieces of what look like a red volcanic rock.
Oh, nice.
Which he's going to crush in his hand as he casts the spell.
Okay,
so if I'm using reagents, it increases my limit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm using 6.
Cool. So spell casting plus magic as usual. His essence is absolutely fine, so there's no difference.
Okay. I'm casting this at force 6.
Okay.
And I'm raising the limit by 6.
Excellent. Yeah,
so I get 4 successes.
4 successes, which heals the majority of his wounds. I mean, he's still got a bit of bleeding every now and again, but his wounds are closed up. But obviously he might have a cracked rib or something like that. So probably a couple of days sleep will actually allow him to fully recover. Probably a day or 2.
Okay. So I'm going to say to him, I've tried to do as best as I can with the magic that I currently have available to me. You'll probably need to rest up for a bit, Dr. Jekyll.
He sort of goes, oh yes, I think that would be wise.
I don't suppose by any chance you are feeling well enough to maybe spend the time and have a look at the blood sample that we have brought in for you to have a look at?
Yeah, he's quite happy to do that, and he sort of like scuffles over to this door here, and he opens the door, and there seems to be almost like a chemistry set there, with a whole load of titration and round bottom flasks and everything. And he sort of like fiddles with some buttons and sort of like various burners come on all over the place. And you also hear a sort of like a which you recognize as some kind of extraction fan starting to sort of like extract the air. And he starts his work. He sort of like takes a small amount of the blood sample that you brought, and takes a small amount of it, and sort of like looks around at you. And he sort of says, "This might take some time."
No problem. Are we okay staying here while you do your work? Of course, we are a bit concerned that we might have another altercation like we've just had.
Yeah, he's quite happy. He seems to be really involved in his work now, and he's sort of like he's giving you the full test tube back, and he seems to be titrating little bits of the blood off and sort of mixing it with different things and adding it and sort of like comparing the color of one against the other thing, etc., etc.
Studley's going to take the time to observe this. I'm going to call it a zombie just because we don't know what it is.
Yeah, that's fine.
Am I able to find out any information about it? I do have a parazoology and a paranormal critter.
Yeah, so go for your critter roll.
But I also want to do things like, what is it dressed in? You know, does it look like...
Yeah, well, yeah. So just do your critter roll, and then I'll give you the information. Obviously, there's some basic information like that you can tell.
3 successes.
Yeah, to you, the closest thing it actually looks like is probably a ghoul. It seems to be dressed in almost like ganger clothes. And so it sort of like has what there seems to be the remnants of leather, sort of like trousers or jeans and boots. And you notice that its claws are actually elongated fingernails that have sort of like erupted from its hand. And they seem to have sort of like tatters of like t-shirts and like denim sort of like waistcoats on.
Okay, and when you say tatters, it's obvious. Is it dirty as well? It's obviously.
Oh yes, very okay. Much so. It's not clean in any sense of the word.
Okay, Studley's going to turn around to Hector and say, could you wake me when Dr. Jekyll has finished his analysis, please? And he's going to go in and lay down on the sofa.
Okay, is this to recover?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know how long Dr. Jekyll's going to be, but I'm going to try to.
Okay, so if you make a body plus willpower extended roll, how many boxes have you lost?
I've lost. I've taken 4 stun.
Okay, so if you make an extended
body and willpower, did you say?
Correct. Yeah.
6, 7, 8, 9.
Whilst that's happening, Hector is. He'll respond to Studley and say, yes, of course. But he also wants to drag I'm assuming it's unconscious rather than dead.
It certainly is unconscious, yeah.
He's going to drag it. He wants to drag it into the living room with the other one. So it's as far away from Dr. Jekyll as possible. And then he's going to sit opposite it with his taser on his lap, and he's just going to keep an eye on it. Because he figures there's no point tying it up, because if it can smash through toughened glass, it's going to rip through whatever we can find to tie it up with.
Okay then. And Billy Bob, anything that you would like to do?
Yeah, Billy Bob's he's gonna crouch down looking at it like, what the hell is this thing, poking at it with his hand blade.
Okay, so this first one in front of you is definitely sort of like out for the count. This one is only appears to only be unconscious.
Can he see if it's breathing or anything?
Well, it seems to be gasping for breath now and again, and you can see that its chest is moving as well. I mean, I think Studley mentioned before he actually stunned it, so he knocked it out. He hasn't actually killed it.
What about the one that's in front of me?
That is dead because your blade does physical damage. Well, Studley just does a stun damage on it.
Actually, can Hector ask Billy Bob to finish off the zombie? Just because Hector doesn't really want to use his gun because he doesn't want to attract lots of attention. So he's going to go, whilst he's still sitting there, he's going, thinking about it. Billy Bob, do you want to put your hand blade in it to stop it getting up again?
Billy Bob's going to smile and walk on over, and then stick his hand blade through like the just under his nose, going up into his face.
And a good move, because otherwise, just as you came round, Studley, it would have come round as well via resting, via stun damage. So you actually come round in 2 hours, Studley.
Right.
That is when you get your 4. Well, you actually get 5 back by then, so that's 4, which I think will recover your stun damage.
Yeah. So during that time, Studley's, as soon as he basically lies down on the city, within sort of like 10 minutes, you hear him sort of like, it's not a snore, it's almost like a, sort of like almost sounds like a piggy.
And from the back, you can hear the sort of like the clinking of test tubes and sort of like muttering from in the other room.
When Studley comes round, he wants to have a look at Hector's gunshot wounds before.
Oh, yeah, I'd forgotten about those. Also, whilst Studley's asleep, Hector would have been in the kitchen, found like a tea towel, and just not done a first aid roll, but just was like just bandaged them up a little bit to stop him bleeding all over Dr. Jekyll's.
Okay, so Dr. Jekyll, throughout all this time, when you guys are all in the front room, he sort of like continues working in the in easy access to the open window by the bed that the this zombie thing came through, and you sort of like hear the reassuring, and every now and again you hear things stopping, and then they start up again, so hopefully nothing is coming in there again or anything, but you guys are pretty safe in this room. Yes, Studley, what did you want to do? Sorry.
I want to when Studley's awake, he wants to have a look at Hector's wound.
Cool. Yeah. So I think his
Well, I actually no. He when he wakes up and he sees that both Hector and Billy Bob are in the same room, he's going to go in and check on Dr. Jekyll, and he's just going to sort of like stand behind him and watch what he's doing.
Yeah, he just seems to be. He sort of like has a whole load of scientific equipment out, and he's muttering a lot and frowning a lot, and he seems somewhat puzzled, and it's sort of like a like this, and it's just sort of like he doesn't seem to be. He doesn't seem to be celebratory. He doesn't almost like being going, yeah, I've got this. He seems to be very sort of like puzzled, and almost.
Is there any books or anything on? Are there any books about? And I know it's the future. It's 2075, but with Dr. Jekyll being an old, I just want to try to get an insight into, type of medicine that he might have been studying.
Across the wall, there's various certificates, to say what he's done and what he hasn't done, and he seems to have been actually a qualified physician, like a proper surgeon.
But I think Ida said that, didn't she?
Yeah.
She said that he was a. Okay, so Studley's just going to sit on the edge of the bed here and just keep an eye on him until he's finished his work.
Yeah, cool. So Hector and Billy Bob, do you wish to do anything?
Yeah, Billy Bob's gonna go in and ask about disposing the bodies. So he'll going to go, what we got to do with these?
Studley will look round at him and motion for him to go out the room so that he doesn't disturb Dr. Jekyll. And then, what time of day is it?
You figure it's about like 2 o'clock in the afternoon currently.
Studley's going to say, probably I would suggest either
waiting till nighttime and then carrying them down the fire escape and dumping them in a dumpster, or if you can actually make it down now without being seen, to do the same.
Then
Hector's going to go.
And he'll go
Sorry.
back and sit on the bed.
Billy Bob's going to ask about is there a rubbish chute?
In the kitchen, there's a garbage disposal unit, but it's not big enough to put a zombified body into. It's more sort of like for toast, or so sort of like things like that.
Hector will have another, after hearing this conversation, Hector's going to have another nose through some of the cupboards to see if he can see any bin liners or all that sort of thing that they could kind of cobble together to put the zombies in, so it looks like they're not necessarily carrying a ghoul down the stairs, but carrying rubbish, rather large rubbish bags or boxes or something down the stairs.
Yeah, most of the things in 2076 sort of like get put down the garbage chute because they're quite small and insignificant. Roll logic plus intuition.
I'll do a memory check because that's the same thing. 3.
Yeah, you find there's odd boxes around.
Oh wait, no, sorry. Logic intuition, did you say?
Yeah.
Okay, no, that wasn't. I'll re-roll that. That's different. Logic intuition. So that's God. So that's 8 dice. Minus because I've got wound penalties. So that's so that's 6 dice. Sorry, I rolled the wrong ones. 2 successes.
So yeah, I mean there's a couple of boxes. I mean they're not going to fit. You could probably hack the zombie up and get them into it, but or you can wait and shove them out of the fire escape. Once it gets dark, it's up to you.
Him in the commotion of what's happening outside with people looking for something. Studley's going to come to the door and sort of like peek up, and he's going to peek through, and he's going to say, "What seems to be the problem?"
Hector's going to respond, just looking for something that we could have put the bodies in so that we weren't carrying bodies down a fire escape in the middle of the night and look a bit shady, but can't really find anything. So we'll have to do that and hope for the best.
Studley's going to say,
Well, just leave it until Dr. Jekyll has finished looking at the blood sample. Then we'll sort it out from there. In the meantime, come into this room where I can keep an eye on Dr. Jekyll and also have a look at your wounds.
and Studley's going to go back in.
Hector's going to shrug and walk in as well.
So I want to do another heal on.
Cool. I think Hector's essence is 6. I would have thought so.
What's your essence, Hector?
How do I know that?
It'll be on your couch sheet main page.
Just underneath magic, or just above magic.
Oh no, it won't be actually. It will be under. It'll be under enhancements. Just across from your depth power.
Essence remaining 6. So I've not spent any essence.
Again, Studley reaches into one of his into his jacket pocket, and he again takes out 6 small pieces of the metallic, the red stone, which he crushes as he. It almost smells. You almost smell like sulfur as he does it.
What's your actual essence? Sorry.
Essence. It says 6. So.
Yeah. So
I've not
you don't have any
essence.
cyberware, do you?
No cyberware, no. But
No,
I've got
so
magic
it would be
rating.
6 then.
So it does.
I have a magic rating 4 because I'm adept. If that makes any difference.
No, it doesn't. It just be normal roll then. Studley. Yeah, five successes, and
very nice.
you with incoming drain. You do the drain as well. Excellent.
Studley is now out of reagents.
Okay, cool.
So I heal 5 5 points, don't I?
Yeah, physical.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Hector's going to sort of like he's going to twitch every so often because it's itching like hell, and he knows he's not meant to scratch it as the skin seems to like attach itself all by itself. And then afterwards he's going to stretch and go, "Thanks very much, Dudley."
At this point,
Studley's going to look at him and sort of like just nod.
At this point, Dr. Jekyll comes out of the room with almost like a troubled look on his face. And he sort of is... He seems to be muttering to himself and going, "Oh, I don't know. I don't know." And then he looks up and he sort of like says, "It is so peculiar." He says, "I have no idea what it is in this blood sample apart from blood. There is some kind of microorganism, almost like gestating, almost like breeding within the plasma. And it seems to be multiplying at a terrific rate. So much so that within hours, if not minutes, the whole of this plasma will be gone. And all that will be remaining is this organism and the cells."
What would happen when, if this was a human being and made up of plasma, of course, and this was in their body, what would happen once all the plasma was consumed?
Well, in a normal body, the plasma almost like allows the blood to flow. It would be almost as if the body is dehydrated somehow, with the liquid removed. It would make him...
In your opinion, would blood transfusion actually prevent or stave off the this micro whatever it is?
Well, the interesting thing is that what I'm more concerned about is not the dehydration of the blood, but the microorganisms that appear to be feeding off it. It's like nothing I've ever seen.
Are you able to put us in touch with somebody who might be able to give us more of an insight, whose speciality is microorganisms, who might be able to help us?
I am no magic user like yourself, but it would almost like seem that this microorganism is manufactured, almost like being made to breed and breed. Studley, can you just make a perception roll for me, please?
1 success.
Yeah, one's enough. You almost like see that Mr. Jackal has beads of sweat breaking out onto his brow. Just slightly. They definitely weren't there before, and he wasn't there when he started to come out to talk to you. It's obviously started to happen since he started to talk to you.
Can Hector think back to when he saw the what's his name, the chap at Ida's place? Do the ghoul, the zombies that are in dead in the apartment, do they look anything like that chap that was essentially melting, or
Well, he was
are they
decaying and
different?
liquefying. I mean, both of them were decaying and somewhat in a state of rot. These are, well, the one in Ida's was a lot more, shall we say, sloppy. These
Yeah,
were a
that's
lot
what.
more sort of like substantial.
Okay, so that's what Hex wants to know, if they were similar or if they were, as you just described, slightly different. That's fine.
Studley's going to turn to Dr. Jekyll and he's going to say,
Dr. Jekyll, I wonder whether or not you could just humor me on this, and just for comparison, are you able to do an analysis of your blood, a blood sample of your own, so that I can see the differences between the two samples?
He looks almost like vacant at you, as if he's doesn't know what you're asking, and then he goes, oh yes, somebody to help you, and he goes over to sort of like this small cabinet over here, and he brings out what appears to be like an ID card, so like shape. And it has the picture and the address of somebody called Bart Smith on it, and he sort of like holds it out to you, Studley, and he says, that's my shaman friend. He deals in ritual magic.
Oh, that's very, very kind of you. Perhaps you
he
should.
passes over the card to you.
okay.
Could you make a perception check?
Do I get any situation modifiers?
No.
One success.
Yeah, as you take the card off him, you notice that in his fingers, where he was holding the card, just around the base of his fingernails, they seem to be slightly blackened. Just almost like on the extremities.
Okay. Studley's going to say to him, perhaps you've been very kind with the information that you provided, and you are a great help. Perhaps, and he'll sort of like shake the duvet or whatever it is that's on the bed to get rid of the glass fragments.
Yeah.
And he'll say, perhaps you should rest for a while, Dr. Jekyll, whilst we dispose of the other bodies that are in your apartment.
Yeah, he sort of like says, yes, rest. That's a good idea. And he sort of like turns everything off in his cabinet and shuts the doors and comes over and sort of like lies almost like on his back, almost like in Pharaoh style, on the bed, and just seems to close his eyes, and you notice that there's a slight twitch every now and again. You also notice that there seems to be some bleeding on his chest from the wound that he took earlier on.
Has he got his eyes closed?
Yeah, it seems to be almost like in REM sleep, so that rapid eye movement.
So once he's there, Studley wants to have a quick look in the small office where all the apparatus, etc. is. Is there something that he could take a blood sample with? Maybe on a swab or something that he could then put in a bag.
It seems
he doesn't want to touch it, but I don't know. Maybe a slide.
Do you have a medical skill at all?
He doesn't know.
No, it seems to be more analysis rather than taking of blood or anything like that. It seems to be more, if you had the blood, you could put it underneath a microscope or, something like that, rather than actually taking blood sample from
Does it
someone.
look like his blood isn't clotting? Is it almost like it?
Well, you're sure that, although you're sure when you healed him before that it had stopped, but it
Okay.
certainly looks like. But it might just be because he's been exerting himself.
Okay. Before Studley goes out, he wants to switch senses and he wants to look at the wound astrally to
Okay,
see
yeah.
whether or not he can see anything different on the astral plane than he can.
Yeah, cool. Making a sensing test.
No, 2 successes.
Yeah, there seems to be almost like a blackness that is sort of like spreading out from the wound, sort of like taking up sort of like the veins and the arteries, and you can see it sort of like it's quite dense black, and it seems to be almost like devoid of emotions or anything, and it almost like it appears black because it's actually almost like pulling away his essence as it's spreading across his body.
Okay. Studley's going to quietly leave the bedroom.
Yeah, Hex will follow Studley out. He's also going to say, did Dr. Jekyll got by one of those zombie things, didn't he?
Studley, once Hector's out, he's going to close the door quietly behind, and he's going to go,
Yes, Hector, it would seem that he did, and it would seem that his fate is probably going to end up very much like these other 2 unfortunate souls in this room.
I thought so, because in all the old films and things that I like watching, there's if you get got by a zombie, you turn into a zombie.
Needless to say, we can't allow this to happen, especially with the strength and agility that these things are obviously have, and in a confined space like a housing apartment block, the results could be devastating.
Billy Bob's gonna turn around and say, "Should we put him down?"
We could take him to Ida. Ida, she might know what to do with him.
I think that's probably a no, Hector, seeing that Ida has employed us to find out what is happening with the other person who has exactly the same symptoms. So with our job being to find out what is happening, I don't think she probably knows.
But she could still monitor his situation and restrain him, because as you suggested, if we leave him here, he's going to rip his way through the apartment block.
Not if I put him down.
Studley pushes his glasses back onto his nose and says, from my understanding, we have 2 options. The first option would be to humanely put Dr. Jekyll out of his misery. The second option would be to quickly find a cure for whatever is happening to these unfortunate people. We do know that we have a small amount of time because the onset of this isn't as great as the poor soul that Ida is currently looking after. What are your choices, gentlemen?
Probably the latter, but I still think that
Right.
I mean,
2
well,
to 1
it's
then.
going to be. No, yeah, that's fine.
Is there a lock on the door?
Yes. Which door are you talking about?
On this door here, or is it just a standard?
No, it's just a standard closed door. I thought you meant the entrance door. There's a
Remember
lock.
that the window's been smashed in, so he can still get out. Hector says as he sees Studley looking for a lock on the door.
Right. Well, it's obvious that it's going to be. We shall have to hopefully find a cure before anything like that happens. Mr. Bob, if you would kindly like to grab one of the unfortunate undead things in this room, I shall give you a way to dispose of it into the trash can at the bottom of the fire escape.
Billy Bob's going to grab like both of these by each leg, so that he's got a leg each, and like start.
Could you maybe put one over each shoulder, please?
So he drops a leg, picks it up, whacks one over the shoulder, and he looks at Hector. It's a little help.
Hector's just. Sorry.
No, go on.
Hector was just going to shrug and then go to pick one of the other ones up.
So you both have lift and carry rolls.
Any modifiers?
No.
Sorry, I didn't ask. I just rolled.
Yeah,
I
so
get
so that's not a problem. You can lift your strength, which is 7, times the net hits 16. So you can carry Billy Bob. You can carry 130 kilograms. So you're fine with that one. And Hector, you can carry 4 plus 3. 70. Yeah, so you're more of you're sort of like struggling with yours less so than Billy Bob. Billy Bob, you just sort of like whack it over your shoulder and sort of like walk with it there. Hector, you sort of like put yours across, and you know that I think you can carry. Is it 70 kilograms you can carry?
Well, Studley's going to say that he can only do one at a time anyway. So soon as Billy Bob's got this thing over his shoulder, Studley's going to cast a spell and have it sustained by his concentration.
Oh yes, yeah, got you.
And he's going to do Trid Phantasm, and he's going to try to make the corpse just look like a bit of rolled up carpet that somebody might be going to.
That's absolutely fine. And
he's only going to force 3, but he's thinking that at least people don't.
There's no need to roll for these. I mean, it's quite an easy spell to cast, and over the period of time you can use one, and then Billy Bob can carry one down and put it in the dumpster, then come back for the next one, because he finds it easier to pick them up and then take them down and pop it into the dumpster. So these two are sort of like removed from the apartment.
Yeah, so he'll do it. He'll do it one at a time, and then it's done.
And Hector would have just moved
both the drains.
The other corpse to the side of the door or window, whichever one that Billy Bob was using to get to carry the body down there.
Yeah,
Billy Bob's going to ask about the doctor, so he's going to say, "What about him?" and point to the room.
Studley's going to turn around and say, "Well, hopefully, Mr. Bob, we're going to do our job, find a cure, and Dr. Jekyll will be Mr. Hyde."
And he's going to head out the door.
Okay, just as you get outside, you notice the old lady from next door sort of like peep out and sort of says, "Oh, is everything okay?"
Everything is absolutely fine. Dr. Jekyll makes the most unruly cup of tea that I've ever had. Absolutely fantastic. He has been most helpful to us, and have a nice day.
Oh, you're so kind. You're so kind. I will look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Hopefully, my dear, hopefully.
Do
And Studley's
pop
going to
in.
walk past, get in the elevator. Then once he's in the elevator, he wants to have a look at the information that, as it's going down, he wants to have a look at the information that Dr. Jekyll gave.
Yeah, it seems to be a card, and it's almost like an ID card, and it says on it the it, it seems to have an address. It looks like it's an address that has a series of numbers. Rather, it doesn't say apartment or anything like that. And there's a mug shot of something, and the name has been scribbled out, and over the top of it has been written Shaman Bart. Okay, as if to help somebody remember what he was called. There's also some other writing on it. There seems to be like a logo, and the logo seems to be almost like a blue set of wings with a sort of like a yellow circle. I'll just draw it for you on the board, so you can see what it looks like. So it looks something like this.
I can't see it.
I don't know whether or not it's.
No, you'll be able to see it in a second. I'm just drawing it. It's hidden at the moment. Right, here we go. See that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So this middle bit in the middle is this bit is like all yellow, and the rest of it, I'm not going to colour it in, but the rest of it is actually all this part is like solid blue.
Can Studley make a memory check to see whether or not he's actually ever seen this logo or anything
Yeah.
on any vehicles or on any TRID adverts, anything
Yeah,
like
by
that?
all means, go for it.
2 successes.
Yeah, it seems you've never seen it before. It seems to be almost like a completely new icon. It's not something that you sort of like think, oh, that's so and so. It looks completely new.
Okay, so as walking out to the when the elevator gets down and they're walking out to the foyer, he wants to go into AR mode. He's going to take out his gloves and put his gloves on, and he wants to see whether or not he can find anything out on the matrix about the logo, and putting in a brief description of it.
Are you in Billy Bob's car? Is this?
I wasn't at the moment. I was sort of like doing this as we were coming down in the elevator and going out to the foyer, etc.
Hector was going to suggest, why don't we send a picture of it to Athena and ask her to do it in the background.
I mean, we can do, but it's our only lead at the moment, so we need that to get to our next.
There's also these numbers. I'll just stick them. I'm just sticking them in the chat for you. Those are the numbers that are on sort of like underneath the name that's been scribbled out.
Could it be a cell phone number?
A comm link.
Yeah.
It could be. You're not too sure.
Okay. Studley's going to he's going to take a note of the numbers by he's going to take out his
Have you all got
electric
those numbers
paper.
down? Yeah.
Yeah, and he's going to write those numbers. Then he's going to hand the card off to Hector.
Yeah.
And he's going to see whether or not he can make a comm call using those numbers and see whether or not
Okay.
there's a connection.
Okay.
Hector's going to take the card from or ID card from Studley, and then he's going to, using the camera in his contact lenses, he's going to take a picture of both the number and the logo, and then send both to Athena and say, would you be able to run a matrix search against this image, please?
Okay.
And he's going to do that over the open comlink.
Okay, so you get two pieces of information back quite rapidly. Athena says she's done a matrix search, and it takes about an hour. So by this time, you're probably in the car and probably driving back to either accommodation or wherever you would like to go, or Sally Sidewinders. And Athena gets back to you and says that the icon is represented a very old, almost like rehabilitation centre that was called Medical Recreation. It actually was almost like the earliest form of, not necessarily cyberware, but sort of like bio enhancements and organic enhancements and replacements. So it's almost like sort of like modern day, sort of like our day plastic surgery. So it was almost like pioneering at its time, but it actually fell into disrepute. And some sort of like 30 years ago, when there was some kind of breakout that caused a massive explosion within the biocenter that was meant to have killed the majority of the workers and half the patients that was there as well. There was a subsequent radioactive or biochemical leak sometime after that, which actually meant that the stocks and the shares of the company plummeted. And eventually, like I said, about 30 years ago, it actually ceased to trade, and it became, the company was sort of like wiped off the face of the earth, and that was it. You actually do type in the number into your comlink, and you get a woman answering at the other end, and she says, "Hello, Medical Recreation."
Bart Smith, please. Dr. Bart Smith.
Medical Recreation?
Yes, I'm trying to get in contact with a Dr. Bart Smith. Is he an employee?
I'm sorry, sir. You appear to have the wrong number.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry.
And the comlink goes dead. And at that point, I think we'll have our first break.